Good.
Unless you want to run down OGTS or something, Kellen. It's up to you.
Nah, go ahead.
Alright.
First game, LTA versus OGTS.
So it looks like OGTS has an AMX 1390, an Object 430, Object 140, TVP, an E5, and two 215 Bravos. While LTA is running an AMX 1390, three Object 140s, two E5s, and a Chieftain. And if I know anything about the Chieftain, it's a very good tank to run the middle of the map. Can really hold down lanes, as can the E5s. It looks like OGTS is going to try to use... Well, both teams are going to use mobility, but most likely they're going to try to use the 215Bs maybe as sniper, like hold down snipers, because none of the other tank, they don't have the hold down capability that a Chieftain has in some of these situations.
OGTS starting off strong, going to the right here.
Yes, well, it looks like LTA is going to play the middle, relatively spread out. It looks like they're just trying to maybe get early lights on what's going on. I know OGTS is playing a little aggressive on the 1-2, like they might kind of try to push it. It looks like they're about to start pushing it with their 215B, E5, and an Object 140. LTA now is spread pretty heavy in the bull, while OGTS has got all their tanks are lit on the 1-2 line, which means that they don't have the element of surprise. If they really wanted to make a 1-2 push, they should have picked a more mobile lineup and gone right off the bat to try to catch LTA in the off guard. However, I think they waited a little too long to make use of the 1-2 push, so they now need to reposition to be able to get any firm hand on LTA. But it does look like OGTS is going to push down the line with their 215B and the E5 pushing. The two 215Bs and the E5 pushing down to soak up the shots. Because they have... The 215Bs have 2,500 hit points to soak up, which is quite a bit, especially when you want to push. And they do have decent gun depression, so they are able to use that ridge line to get shots. And it does look like they're using the Object 140 and Object 430 to get crossfires onto those LTAs, E5s, and Chieftain. Although that Chieftain's in a very advantageous spot right now on the 215Bs.
Meanwhile, light tanks going up
LTA
on the hill,
is losing a lot of health. Or putting a lot
possibly
of
getting behind them.
Yeah, LTA is making a lot of, I shouldn't say bad trades, but they're not really dishing any damage and they're taking shots they shouldn't be taking. But OGTS is also taking quite a bit of damage. Those 215Bs and E5 while repositioning took quite a bit of hits. And that 430 just got hit for overexposing. I think picking a 430 was a bad idea because it has only 5 degrees with a bad turret. In this situation, you don't want to have either of those. OGTS is going to send a AMX 1390 around probably to J7, K8, and get crossfires onto those tanks on the ridge. And that will cause tanks to push back to get to the light tank. And when they do that, OGTS will have an overmatch to be able to push over.
Object 140 got lit on fire. Puts it out.
He does carry a fire extinguisher. It's something
pretty
that a lot
mandatory.
of people don't like to do. Well, on a 140 it is, but some people will drop the fire extinguisher for rations, but on a 140 you almost always get set on fire. Looks like OGTS has that E5 pushed back, and he's going to be able to get crossfires with this 215B. Even though they're both very low hit points, they're in pretty strong spots, being able to abuse their turret armor. And right now, those two E5s and Chieftain are stuck in a pretty bad situation, and that OGTS does lose a 215 Bravo. He is out now. But LTA is really low on hit points, pretty spread out. It looks like, honestly, the hit points are pretty shared. It looks like OGTS's focus fire is a little off. With those amount of hit points taken, you should have at least 2 tanks dead. The E5 gets hit again, and now most of those tanks are triple tappable, with the 140 being possibly a one-shot. OGTS loses another E5 back at A6. LTA was able to take them out. Someone got a lucky shot on the cupola of the E5 because he was in a pretty advantageous position. And LTA finally loses their first tank, an Object 140. And LTA was surprisingly able to hold off on that, even though OGTS had a pretty good crossfire. That was pretty admirable what they were able to do right there. They were in the disadvantaged position, and they were able to outtrade OGTS and make what's worth.
1390.
OGTS loses the TVP.
Takes him down.
OGTS loses the other 215 Bravo, and now it looks like this is a 5v3. However, the 1390 and the 140 are pretty much full health, with the 430 probably having 1300 hit points, 1400 hit points or so. Well, all of the tanks in LTA are pretty low hit points, so with just some good focus fire, they could go down. LTA loses their 1390 and the Chieftain's a one-shot. It looks like LTA might throw away hit points, try to push over on them. Gold Shadow gets shot again. Looks like Gold Shadow's getting focused down by OGTS. They have some good focus right now. He is ammo-racked, and he gets taken down. Now it's a 3v3. However, they have the hit point disadvantage, LTA, and OGTS looks like they're going to try to push in and abuse their hit point advantage, which is what they should do. The Object 140 and the Chieftain are one-shots. Looks like if they're able to push, they might be able to get this one out and just come back from a 3-5 overmatch. OGTS does lose an Object 140, so it is a 2v3. Panzer can get killed if all these three tanks are able to shoot him. But OGTS's 1390 might be able to come in. He is unspotted. He might be able to come in behind them and drop the Chieftain and the Object 140 in his clip. And then they can work on the E5 together. The Object 140 is using the dead Object 140 as a meat shield. And he does track the E5 as he's coming to them to give him some more time. It looks like he should try to focus the tanks that are one-shots. He goes for the E5 again and tracks him. Not a pen shot. He gets penned by a heat round in the turret.
Here comes the push.
Another heat round. He takes out the one-shot 140. And now he's going to try to go for the Chieftain and take him out. He gets taken out beforehand, though. Now it's an AMX 1390 versus a one-shot Chieftain and a 2 to 3 shot T110 E5.
Full health, 1390.
If the 1390 can get all his shots off, he is able to clip.
He's on the
both
run.
tanks
He's going to try
pretty
to
easily with
avoid
taking
being spotted here.
both of their shots.
Yes. I think if the 1390 was to push down the E line and hop out at around D1 or D2, or even use the hills to an advantage, you might be able to get some nice shots in the Chieftain and E5, because it looks like they're going to go for a base cap. And the 1390 is a pretty sneaky, fast tank with good camouflage, and he can pen the Chieftain pretty much anywhere. Once the Chieftain is down, they lose that huge DPM. And the 1390, if he could get the Chieftain not taking any damage, he could use the buildings or the hills to pretty much YOLO the E5 and take him out. He does have the hit points to take 3 hits with a 400 alpha gun, so if he plays it right, he should be able to clutch this up.
He has 30 seconds to get the reset.
Which should be no problem for the 1390 with its speed.
That's camo. There's a lot of bushes on this map that allow you to just be a bush. Like, you can sit in a bush pretty much anywhere on this map and be in a very sneaky spot. And
wow, I didn't realize the cap was so low. I don't know if he'll make it.
I don't think he will. He is exposed.
Oh,
he does
got
take out
one.
the Chieftain. He gets him out. He resets the cap. 25 seconds.
He
Will
is
he be able to
spotted,
get the
however.
E5 or not? If he uses this rock to the left of the E5 or directly in front of him and he gets close, he could close the distance and might be able to get it. All he has to do really is keep the reset going until the 2 minutes has ran out.
He might have a hard
he's
time
E5.
penning E5 here. E5 is keeping his lower plate pretty protected here.
If he can get a track shot, that would be enough to reset the base.
True.
That's all he needs to do. Or even if he shots the gun, all he has to do is hit the gun. Anything will reset the cap. That's all he has to worry about. He can eat a shot. He should do that right now. And try to get it.
He bounced. That might be game.
He'll get one more shot off. Will he make it?
Wow, he resets.
He does.
it.
He hits the reset.
Wow.
With 1 second to spare on the clock.
That was some clutch plays
At this
right
point,
there. Now
he
he can do
cannot.
that one more
The
time.
E5 is not able to cap.
He's going for a reload, so maybe he will reposition, or he might just close in on him.
He is using the rock as cover. The E5. I'm not sure what he's doing.
Was he gonna leave the cap to
think
push
he
the
realizes
1390,
he
which is a
cannot
huge
cap.
mistake?
Yeah, this exposes
Because that
him.
1390
But
will
the
be reloaded in
1390 's
probably 5
reloading.
seconds.
He has
is
the
lit.
mobility.
1390 is gonna play ringer around the Rosie though, but he's still reloading. The
E5
E5 misses
misses.
the shot. The 1390 is gonna be able to get around him. There he goes. Clip. He's going to drop his clip and be able to take out the E5. This is a very close game and a very nice comeback by OGTS. It was very well played on the 1390.
Yeah.
That 1390 was able to do 2,500 damage, which is a huge. That means he reloaded at least 2 times to push that out on the board. That is shows you what a tier 8 light tank can do. Even in 768 format being the bottom tier, they are able to really position well to change the tide of battle. OGTS's 215 Bravo and TVP really didn't do much, and same thing with LTA's 140s. They weren't able to put a lot of damage before dropping. But it was still a very close game.
Very close game.
Very enjoyable to watch. It's for if you know your team, like know your enemy and how they play, and you know that they play turtily. Picking an arty may not be, picking arty may be the right thing to do, but against immortals who generally play more aggressive, picking an artillery might be a bad idea. So
yes.
LTA has the 1390, 2 140s, 3 T110E5s, and a 215 Bravo. Well, OGTS has a 1390, a 430, an STB, a TPP, and 3 T110E5s. So both teams really using those T110E5s. They are very, very overperforming tanks, I should say. And they definitely have a spot in the meta on console right now. So, based on the early game, it looks like LTA's 1390 is going to spot the 1-2, while the rest of them play the middle, and OGTS looks like they're going to play the middle with the 1390 getting early spots.
OBJ1.
A 140 does take a shot off, but he does not make the shot. Yes. That 1390 on LTA, if he was able to get into E1, that'd be very advantageous. You could spot the entirety of the bowl as
I think he might be going for it.
He might. It is a very, very strong spot, especially for spotting. Right now, OGTS looks like they might be getting ready for a push. They're all clustered in one spot. Looks like they might try to use their gun depression to out-trade and then push in.
If they leave it too long, LTA are just going to be able to surround them.
Yes, they did give up a lot of map control, but it looks like OGTS is going to use that AMX 1390 to flank again. He is in the back of the map, so yep, there it is. He's crossing over to the far side of the tracks. It looks like he's going to go up the hill again like he did last game and come down. He can actually get into F0 and shoot down into the center, which would stop those E5s and the 215 Bravo from using that position, and they'd have to back off.
Depending on how long it takes
Game
for
of
him to
trades.
Yeah. Time is of the essence.
It is.
But currently, LTA is taking a lot of early damage. They're making really bad trades. They're taking damage, not dishing any. And that is huge, especially when you only have 7 tanks. OGTS has lost barely any hit points.
OGTS are the ones deciding whether to crest the ridgeline, and all LTA are doing is just
Rapid
sitting back and taking the damage at this
coming
point.
up to a
The
good
D5
spot.
gets set on fire, it blows the engine. He goes down. LTA loses their first tank. With OGTS, it's pretty well on hit points right now. They still have 70%, almost 80% of their hit points remaining. While LTA's at 33%, they may have 6 tanks, but all the hit points are spread pretty thin. OGTS right now, if they wanted to, could just push in and they could focus those tanks. A lot of them are one-shots. LTA loses the second tank. AMX 1390. There goes all their view. That's dropped. OGTS does have a TVP behind them. That's a lethal. He drops another tank. A 215 Bravo. That TVP behind them is lethal. That has a lot of DPM. There goes another tank. Another T110E5. There goes another one. LTA just got really... They weren't making good enough trades and were able to get surrounded in this game, which really resulted in them losing. OGTS was able to just use the tanks they picked were very, very proficient in trading over the ridgeline, which allowed them to really punish LTA, especially considering that once they really won the center, they're able to peek over on their own terms rather than LTA's terms and punish them for it.
Exactly.
Skunk.
Very nice damage spread from OGTS.
That's a very nice spread. It it is nice to see games where a team, it looks like they're pretty even, and both teams. The IS-7 is really good if you can play banana and get hold down on the road. And I think that an IS-4 at any close range combat is a poor mistake. That turret is pretty bad, and most tanks are taller than it. So against an E100 or something, if you're face hugging it, the IS-4 is going to get crapped on. Whereas if you're at an IS-7, you can face hug pretty much anything. And if they don't know where to shoot you in that little back hatch on the turret, they'll bounce pretty much every shot into you. So it looks like LTA has an E4, an E3, two E75s, an IS-7, an E100, an FV215 Bravo, while the OGTS has a T110 E3, the Death Star, a Tiger II, an IS-4, a T57 Heavy, and two 215 Bravos.
This is going to be a great match. I can say this right now.
I think so.
This is going to be
I feel
probably
like
one of the best matches right now.
I agree. I think that both teams have counter lineups. I think that one team having a more defensive, one team having a more offensive lineup is going to call for some really, really good trades and some really good gameplay that's going to happen.
And it looks like LTA is pushing 4 tanks right to banana lane, where OGTS
And 3 tanks towards the
has
tracks.
2 tanks. Tiger 2
Pathways
and
are almost
215B
exactly the
getting
same.
spotted, with both E75 and IS-7 getting spotted.
That Death Star in the middle just got spotted. That's a huge game changer. As they know where a lot of their team is, they can now start to make plans. I'm surprised that no team took the hill, because right now, if you picked like a TVP or a bat chat, you could go to B9 and get crossfire.
Yeah. I definitely think one team should have picked a medium. It would have worked.
Yeah.
Even if it was just a light, it would have worked so much better. The light could come down and cause a distraction, maybe hop on cab, force
Yes.
someone to come back. There would be an overmatch on one side because of that. It would just be very flexible. It would give that team
E3
the
gets
edge.
pen in the cupola. Oh, that E3 has 3 marks of excellence. He did get pen in the cupola. That E100 does take a 850 shot into the turret. He just gets snuck right into the cheek. This is quite interesting. 2 T123s going at it is always exciting to see, because 90% of the time they'll bounce each other because powered. Those tanks have a lot of armor, and even those TDs with the APCR can't really pen it that easily. The 3 does bounce around.
I feel like this Death Star should be able to do some absolute work on this banana road.
I agree. And they have a really good counter played up, so you can't play the courtyard. I remember in I think WCL1, Colin here himself was able to play the courtyard in his 5100, and I think if you can get a mobile tank or tank with DPM or something to push the courtyard and get into a corner, they would be able to pretty much catch a tank off guard and get him out. The 215 Bravo does take a 750 hit point shot. He is now on half health. Another shot to OGTS on the Tiger 2.
Tiger 2 is firing HE at the C75.
The 257 Heavy is pretty much dead. He is a one-shot now. He's playing his position that he has his side exposed to the enemy T110 E4, and he finally moves out of that window. But now he's caught himself in a position where he has low hit points, and he is reloading. And both the E3s are... It looks like that OGTS E3 is shooting HE. I saw a pretty low damage roll come out from over here. I'm not sure if I read that wrong, or if I could only see a few numbers, but it looked like an HE shell.
Yeah, I think he is.
Actually, right now, if LTA was able to take out that Death Star in the middle, they would be able to play this map very, very well and pretty much be able to dominate. The Death Star is caught crossing, and E4 is...
Wow,
he
he
bounces
does.
off the ass of the turret. That is quite amazing. That was a very bad RNG roll right there. That should have been an 850 shot on the side of the turret, but he does bounce. That could be a complete game changer late game. That shot right there could have just changed the tide of battle. Both teams very even on the hit points, but LTA is a very low. All their tanks are spread, whereas OGTS has some tanks that have taken a lot of damage compared to others. That 215B is reduced to a one shot, and the other 215B he just hit for 750 cross through the window, and now he's a one shot as well. That E75 just gets hits in the turret. He's dropped. LTA's first tank in the fight.
Now we're seeing a push on Banana Lane.
A track push is coming out.
This is a risky track
See what
push,
this
though.
can develop
The I-7 is
into.
full
They are
health,
all a one
and
shot.
OGTS is the first tank at 215B.
Oof.
Right now, it looks like OGTS might try to hold off until the Death Star can get there and just basically delete a tank. Tiger 2 gets hit again for 480, and now he is pretty much reduced to a 1 to 2 shot based on how the IS-7 rolls.
I feel like this Death Star's playing way too passive this game. Way too. He could easily come around here, just put one shot into an IS-7, possibly one shot him. The rest of his hit points. There's a nice damage roll. Not enough to finish D75, unfortunately. He might be able to get another shot off on this 215B or Tiger 2.
What D75 needs to do now is he just needs to use those hit points.
Ooh, E3 goes down.
Yep. That allows that now OGTS to push Banana, but it looks like LTA is going to push into the IS-4, the E3. The IS-4 is a one-shot. Will they be able to take him out? The E3 does get a shot off. But it looks like the 215B has him caught in a bad spot. The E3 is reduced to a one-shot. The E3 and the IS-4 are both one-shots. The E100 is going to face-hug the IS-4.
Oh.
215B gets taken down. And
damn.
the E100 gets taken down. I think
Not
that
looking good
LTA
for
right there, they
LTA.
should have tried to play more aggressive on the tracks because before the Death Star got there, they had a pretty good overmatch, and especially they were well off on hit points. And they could have created a good crossfire into those heavies in the middle, but they weren't able to do it because once they got repositioned, they would get punished for any kind of play.
Yeah.
If the D75, I mean, a lot of those tanks are one-shots. If that D75 can take out tanks that are one-shot, maybe they could tear an entire tide of this game. But he has to go down. Now it's just the IS-7, and the IS-7 doesn't have quite the DPM nor the armor to carry this game, especially on this map. The IS-7 does bounce
a
shot,
present.
shot, but he's about to get rebalanced.
Very outnumbered and will not win.
IS-7 low rolls, but does damage an engine, but the Death Star Hesh round just doesn't matter. If you have less than 500 hit points, you're gonna die. And OGTS does win the game.
Very nice health point spread for OGTS there, keeping a lot of their tanks alive, even though the majority of them were one-shot. Only the FE215B getting down. Again, a nice damage spread as well.
Yeah.
Even the Tiger 2's managing to get 1,000 damage off. That's more than the enemy E100.
You could also put, well, A1 is also a pretty nice spot to push, to be honest. I mean, it's not as good as Hill in my opinion, but if you know your team's going to play tracks, E1, if you remain unspotted until they start pushing, you can get some really, really good crossfires. So they could gamble, but it's a huge gamble because they have to play tracks. They must absolutely 100% play tracks, and if they do not, that TVP is useless.
Exactly. I feel like he's almost certainly going to go Hill though.
Yeah, I do
The
too.
lineup that they have,
I think he's going Hill for sure, but
yeah,
you never know.
I mean, to be honest, with that lineup that LTA has, they could play a pretty decent turtle in North Spawn.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a pretty good lineup for that. The I-7, the E100, the 215B, those are pretty good defensive tanks, not really offensive tanks, because the second you try to push, you'll get punished for it because they don't have armor against premium rounds.
Yeah, this TVP is going Hill.
Yep,
Nice
he's
to
going
see.
straight for the hill, which is kind of what we expected, but
OGTS going with a track push here.
But based on the early lineup, that E1 position in that TVP may have actually been the spot to go to because based on where they're playing right now,
it seems as if almost half of OGTS doesn't know where they want to go yet.
yeah, I
They're
agree.
kinda
They started to
still
go
on
one
the
way and started to go the
These-
other.
This
Well, the
215B
other
is
three
going to
teammates
get
just got
rebalanced by
spotted.
this TVP. Yeah.
See, right now the V215B, E75, and E5 are in a very bad spot because of TVP. Can
Oh
get
yes,
shots
well,
on
the
them.
second
yeah.
that TVP gets to the top of that hill, he's going to be able to just put
There we
1280
go.
right
There
in the
goes the
side of
first
someone. There
shot.
it is. There's one.
Second.
There's
There it
two.
is.
Missed a third.
Third one misses. Bounces
Fourth
the
one
fourth.
bounces.
Fourth bounces. Two
So
shells
didn't
connected.
maximize on potential damage, but still. Now they do know he's on top of the hill.
But he
and
did
they
cause them to, yeah.
probably are going to re-situate.
Now that LTA knows that they're pushing around, though, they should be able to recognize they can push. They can start to play the tracks, because the second the E5 and 215B go to help the tracks, they can get punished by the TVP. So they really have to play passive. The 215B is taking a lot of damage. The TVP is dropping a clip into him. He does pen 2. The 215B is reduced to half health, and he is falling back, and the TVP cannot finish his clip. He's reloading again. I think LTA realized that the TVP on the hill would be a huge advantage against these players. E5 does take a shot, but does miss. And the only shots that have connected so far have been the TVP. All other shots fired have either missed or bounced, as of now.
Both of these teams play
Oh, now
very
he's coming
passively.
out by the opening on the hill. Looks like he got a couple shots
I think
in
it's
the
a very
mouse.
risky play. Looks like the Death Star is looking for him, so if he overexposes too much, OGTS's 1A3 will rebalance him, so he has to be very cautious of that. And the whole reason he repositioned in the opening is because it would allow for more shots than the E5 and 215 Bravo from where he is. I don't think he was really wishing to get maybe anyone else besides maybe the E3, because the second that he tries to push a little too far to get shots in the mouse, the Death Star will be able to balance him out. So that's a pretty bad thing. LTA, I don't know why they're playing so passive right now. They could send an E4 down the opposite side of the tracks and get good cross on the enemy, because they can't go do anything from where they are right now.
I almost feel like that's a problem with their setup, though, is that they've picked the TVP, the only real mobile tank on their lineup. So in order for the rest of the team to play around the TVP, because the TVP is the main decider this game, without a doubt, him dumping clips on that hill is just really going to hammer it home for them. And if they can just get the trades off, and maybe get the push off, I feel this IS-3 should probably help this E4. But here comes the E4,
Agreed.
hunting for shots on the 215B. I don't think he's going to find any, though. I feel like that 215B in the middle should come over to this E4, and they should probably start getting a push.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure
agree.
why
I
they're
think
not
pushing
pushing the
tracks
tracks
right now is
very
the best
much.
thing to do.
Yeah.
I think pushing Banana is a huge problem right now. They just need to, if LTA plays very defensive on Banana and just tries to really just, use the I7's turret to bounce shots, OGTS does lose a mouse.
one
That's a lot of hit points.
They just have an E75 covering that now. The 215B and the E5 have rotated middle.
E4 is making a
E5
push
E4 is
now.
pushing the
easily
tracks,
be-
which is actually a really good,
Here we
really
go.
good idea. Because the second the
But he's
E5
gonna get
repositions,
overmatched.
the TVP will be able to rebalance. The TVP does get one shot into him, but does not get two. He's now shooting the E75. He gets one. Will he be able to get a
E4
second
misses.
or drop more shots into? Yeah, the E4
No,
just
the
misses
TVP's on
the
the
rear
reload.
shot. But it looks like he's making really bad peaks, although the IS-3 does bounce. All they need to do now is get the E5 to push them so that they can get crossfires. The E5 and the E75 are in bad positions. The E5 does get hit for 876, or around that. Now 330, the IS-3 does pan. The E5 is reduced to a 2-shot or a 1-shot by the T110 E4. And it looks like the IS-3 is just soaking up shots so the E4 can dish out damage.
Oh.
Does the TVP just sneak that in for that 300 ammo rack? It does drop the E5, so it's just the E75 left. Right now, the
Very
E4 should try to eat the
slow.
shot for the IS-3 to keep the hit points in.
Slow and controlled gameplay from both teams right now.
The IS-3 does go down. Looks like the E75 is going to try to YOLO him, but the E3 does get the shot. A57 for the high roll and does get the kill. Saved by the roll. And it looks like the IS-4... looks like the IS-4 is pushed to the window, which is a very good play on his part. That position is very strong, especially in competitive play and that courtyard push. It really limits what the Banana Road can do, especially when you get crossfires. They can't fall back and they can't push. They have to stay there. LTA just takes some pretty bad trades right there. They do get shot in the I-7 and the 215B. But it looks like the IS-4 is going to go for a crossfire on the tanks of Banana.
This TVP is about to start dumping a nice clip right now.
Ooh, I7
Yes, he
takes
is.
Be
big
wary of
Probably
hit.
this
getting very
Death Star,
happy.
though.
I think 215B is about to go down here.
I feel like it could still swing either way, to be honest.
I
They
agree.
recognize this TVP.
They do not, though. And the TVP comes behind the Death Star and is going to be able to drop all 4
Ah.
shots into him. There's 2, there's 3. He gets hit, and he does go down. There he goes. And now it's just a Type 4 Heavy.
Clear win for
and-
LTA.
Yeah, clear win for LTA. This is very nicely done. They're able to recognize that track. That the tracks had the tracks would win them the game. And once they
TVP
realized that,
doing
the E4 pushed.
4,707 damage. The clear decider of that game.
Yes, indeed.
Absolute clear decider.
MVP.
Definitely.
Totally the MVP.
Very nice play.
That was the very sole decider of that game. He was able to just punish anything on the tracks in that position, which is very nicely played out. It allowed for LTA to really make the plays. They made the LGTS play on their terms, which is hugely
Exactly.
competitive. The second that you make the enemy play on your terms is when you start to win.
Yeah, they recognized that neither of them were taking the hill, so they decided let's go mobile and pick a medium. An autoloader medium. I would have preferred bad chat, wink wink, but regardless, I think it was still a good choice.
I feel like
think
with
that the bad chat might
the
be a little
setup
risky
they
though,
had,
because it has bad
yeah.
accuracy and it takes 2.3, 2.4 seconds between each shell. Whereas
artillery, having the artillery just beeline straight for K9, getting behind that house and just being able to put shots onto the 140 and TVP, I feel like that would have been a lot better of a play for OGTS, but we'll see how it plays out here. They are
Yes.
definitely going with them wanting to win hill.
now OGTS has a 1390, 2 Object 430s, an Object 140, 2 E5s and a 15B. Well, LTA has a 1390, a 140, a TVP, an IS4, 3 E5s, and honestly, those 2 140s, that right there alone should tell you they're going to push hill, because I think it's like a 4.9, 4.98 second reload. That's really, really dangerous, because that split-second decision, that split-second reload, it can really change battle. You know, those
There
little,
we go.
little iffy things. The TVP does get up the hill first. He's not spotted right now, but he's going to get completely deleted if he gets focused. There he goes. They're getting focused down. LTA
shots
is a little
in.
slow on the push. The TVP is still alive. He does get up the hill, which means it's going to be very difficult to push him out. That 140, though, is the focus right now. He gets engine blown. He's not going to be able to run away. He's going to go down in a second.
Nice
Okay.
focus fire.
It's put on fire.
Very nice focus fire from OGTS here.
I was expecting the TVP
Like,
to
he
help.
does
Like a
reloading.
clip?
It looks like he's going to drop off the hill. He just gets
Oh,
stuck on the
no.
rock, though, and it looks like he's going to get rammed, and he is going to get
he
reloaded
is
and killed by the
done for.
430.
Oh,
they both go
430
over the hill,
jumped
though.
off the hill.
Wow.
That could be a complete game changer, though, now, because now they
He
have an
comes around
overmatch,
behind
but
them.
LTA loses the tank. Now OGTX loses the first tank. They lose the 215B. OGS is playing very, very aggressive on this hill right now. And where the IS-4 is, that's really a bad idea, because that IS-4 can put a lot of shots in, but he does get hit twice in the turret by heat shells. And the 1390 YOLO's in the looks like the 1390 gets the OGTS's E5. He is going to start clipping the other E5.
Oh.
He does get reduced to a one-shot. The E5 is getting punished, though. He's now reduced to a little bit less than half health. OGTS loses another tank. They're both 4-4 right now, but the hit points are in OGTS's favor.
This 140 has basically just been left here to farm. This from OGTS.
Yes, I
Hager's
see
just
that.
been left to farm. Only recently having one shot put into him, he's definitely farmed so much for them. This 430 getting set on fire here. He's definitely going to go down. Will he be able to put off another shot? No,
But as an E5
unfortunately
versus
not. He
430,
bounces.
430 is a one-shot. LTA another tank. LTA loses another tank, but if they can get this 430 out fast enough and start to reposition, they might be able to still win this game. They just need to get the 430. 430 does go down, so now it's just a 140 and E5 versus that 3
Just
tanks.
anyone's game.
Now it's anyone's game.
Ooh.
The 430 does get punished for pushing. He just gets shot. He does bounce a shot though, but the OGTS's E5 is a 2-shot. All I have to do is really play. If they play the overmatch correctly, they could really win
Yeah.
this game.
This
LTA,
E5,
that
I
is.
think, is being too aggressive, to be honest with you. I feel like he should have just sat behind the other E5 right there and let
think
them
he
come
should have
around
been
the
on top of
corner,
the hill.
forcing them to go into the crossfire.
He could have
LTA loses
been.
another tank, but right now this is a very close game.
Yeah.
Oh my
Both
god.
tanks
3%.
are reduced
The
to one
health
shots.
point
This is a
pool.
very close
This
game.
is
Very, very
nitty-gritty.
close game.
That
If I was the 140, I'd
was
be
just
going
to
on
come
top.
around
Yep.
behind them.
He's going up there. He's gonna have
I would
the.
now. I
You
would
definitely
push both,
could.
I would push both E5s into that E5. The second he shoots,
Yeah.
push into him because that 140 is gonna be able to drop on top of him, and he might be able to get a shot or two. And that E5, I think he's starting to recognize that 140 is gonna come from a side. He looked to his right. Looks like he's getting ready for that push to come from the side.
You see, the problem now, though... Oh, here we
E5's
go.
gonna take a hit
Don't
here.
speak too soon.
He missed.
See, Shadow's playing way too passive here. He should have really come around that corner, because now both E5s are looking the opposite way.
I
Both
agree, but
E5s
disagree.
in
Look
one
where the
shot.
Capolas are. LTA's E5 is
There
we go.
has Capola on the left side. He does get the track. He needs to back up though before the 140 gets the kill, because the second that E5 goes down, they have the complete overmatch. E5 is going to start pushing. And
140
LTA
gets
does
the
lose the tank, but
kill.
they do take out
the
the
1v1.
They took out the 140. It's the E5. It's a 1v1. Who's going to be able to get the Capola shot?
Oh,
And it's OGTS
nice
that get the kill on
shot
LTA
from
with a close game.
Yes.
Wow. That was the best game. Hands down.
That was a very, very nice game played. And honestly, if LTA's TVP was able to just get one more pen in, that could have been that could have won them the game, because he was only able to get ram damage. He only fired 2 shots, both missed. If he was able to just hit 1 shot out of that clip, I could have won them the game right there, because there would have been less shots taken from on OGTS's side, which, you know, that's huge. We have LTA's E5 bringing up 4,000 damage, the other one bringing up 3,500 damage, which is huge.
Yes.
That Object 140 was left to farm, bringing out almost 4,000 damage himself at 3,750 or 3,775, which is quite a lot for a tier 10 Russian medium, especially when you were playing the passive game. That kind of DPM is quite nice to play.
Is that game then, or
It's first 2-5.
is it 4-1 now, or?
I believe it is 4-1. Yes. They won
that was
the
the
first
fifth
2
game.
games. It was 1-1 on Himmels,
You're right.
and that was the first game of mine. So it is 4-1. OGTS
So
does
this
have
is-
4-1 right now.
If OGT wins this one, game over.
Yeah, and that will be match. I definitely feel like one of these teams needs to throw in the wild card and just be super aggressive. Just super, super aggressive. Pick a nice heavy medium setup, you know, have an E5, maybe 2 E5s, and just go super aggressive. I feel like that would really throw off the opposite team. Because all game we've seen passive plays, every game almost, nice and drawn out. And then the games that we do see that end semi-quickly are very close. Every game has been pretty close. You know, it's the team that manages to hit points the best, and OGTS are proving that they are just a lot better at it than LTA in this match. We might be
I think that
seeing the
both these
setup here.
teams. Yes, I think that both these teams really. I think they're pretty closely skilled. I mean, OGTS does have the 4-1 lead right now, but throughout the games have been very close. There's that 1 or 2 plays
Yeah.
that OGTS makes that just really push over, that make LTA really fall back and makes them lose the game. But if they just practice, it will be a very strong Russian medium
Oh,
to use
man.
competitive, because it is very nice.
Chinese competitive.
Yeah. It's a Russian medium, just bigger.
Oh, I thought you meant the 113.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the 113 is the Russian medium, just bigger, pretty much. What they had
113
340,
is
he had
Chinese,
compared to
though.
330. Yeah, no, it's a bigger
See where the
Russian medium,
CDC
though.
goes.
So that's like a nickname for it.
I thought you were saying it's a Russian medium. I'm sorry.
Nah.
Come on, man. But yeah,
LT
no.
is a 50
I was
foot lightweight
thinking
at
the
140.
112. Like, that's not even like a. Like, a heavy tank, medium tank to me. It's
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's walking in Meraki too.
Very
LTA is the
fast.
T54 lightweight, Object 140, TVP 5051, IS4, 3 5s. OGTS is the CDC 62A and Object 430, 3 5s and a 113. Both teams love their E5s. They're just completely spammed every single game. OGTS is playing a super heavy push. Looks like that LTA's T54 lightweight is just looking for the push. And those mediums, they back
wow,
off.
everyone hesitated.
Yeah.
And now it looks like
This
E5s are
CDC
going to
is
push
being
and take
very
this.
weird. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but this CDC is playing very hard.
Agreed. I think they're using him as more of a an experiment.
He could
I don't think
be-
OGTS has probably used this before. They don't know what to do.
Possible cat pressure.
Mm.
Now, right now, we're just looking at. Right now, we know that OGTS so far in the past games, so they're really good at trading, and they're just using this to trade against LTA. I mean,
Oh,
OGTS
they're
just
recognizing
taken
the
hill,
overmatch.
and they're pushing
They're
into it right
recognizing
now.
that overmatch. They know those mediums are coming up behind them. They're
Oh
pushing
wow,
in.
here it comes.
62A is getting focused down right now. They just need to keep him out. He is tracked. He is tracked. LTA just need to take him out, so they have 10-point advantage. LTA does the first tank, the T125. 62A is a one-shot now. He goes down. It's now the CDC and the 430 gets the lowest
Very
points on the
nice
match.
finesse.
Another tank goes down. The E5 goes down. CDC is now shot again. He's reduced to a one-shot for some of those tanks. The high roll.
IS4
E5
being
LTA is a
ignored.
I think
one-shot. He's
this
about to
is-
go down. He goes down as well.
This is definitely a clear win. A clear win for OGTS. I think that there is no way they could come back from this at this point.
I
Yeah.
agree. I think that LTA just
The
they
health pool is
waited
just
too long.
yeah.
Too much
Again,
separation.
the LTA played the passive game. OGTS just every game they've been playing the passive game. OGTS is like, we'll just get them on this. We'll just do a nice rush. We'll recognize an overmatch. They recognized the overmatch and they just pushed right in and cleaned up. It's all they needed to do. And now all this is just cleaning up the mediums. They took way too long to get into position.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And that TVP where that IS4 went, if the TVP pushed up a little bit more, I'd been able to really use that. If he pushed up a
Yeah.
little bit more to where the
Yeah.
dip in the depression, because the fact on this map is only overmatches. This map is heavily reliant on overmatch. At the second that you realize you have the overmatch, you play it, because
Yes.
if you wait too long, you will get punished. Now
Look
the
at
only
that.
tank in
Two
OGTS
E5s.
is the 62A. 2 E5s is the donut. That shouldn't have happened. They just didn't trade properly like they should have, and that really is the determinant factor on maps like this. Whereas you have to do damage every shot, because if you make bad trades, it will add up, and you will pay for it. Which is exactly what happened to LTA in this game. They peaked up those E5s. They peak up. They get shot in the cupola with heat.